It was something that has been nothing but a nervous joke for years. California will slide into the Pacific Ocean one day. It happened. Paseo del Mar and San Pedro collapsed under the weight of recent heavy rain and mudslides. This was capped by a record 0.98 inches of rain in LA on Sunday. The large section of road literally fell down a coastal cliff into the ocean water below. Beyond Thanksgiving, another storm out west will surge a big weekend warm-up through Maryland. It will only be a matter of time until the pattern reverses, so we will continue to track western weather as it will eventually be something we have to contend with in December. A night-flowering orchid, the first of its kind known to science, has been described by a team of botanists. Experts say the remarkable species is the only orchid known to consistently flower at night, but why it has adopted this behavior remains a mystery. The plant was discovered by a Dutch researcher during an expedition to New Britain, an island near Papua New Guinea. At Mountain View, California-based SST, engineers have developed new gunfire detection software that pinpoints the exact location of a shot, making it easier for police officers to respond to a crime scene. Police departments such as the city of Flint, Michigan, are signing on with a technology, dubbed Shotspotter. Flint is subscribing to SST's Shotspotter Flex to detect and locate gunfire and gather intelligence. More than 250 cameras in the district and its suburbs scan license plates in real time, helping police pinpoint stolen cars and fleeing killers. But the program quietly has expanded beyond what anyone had imagined even a few years ago. With virtually no public debate, police agencies have begun storing the information from the cameras, building databases that document the travels of millions of vehicles. Nowhere is that more prevalent than in the district, which has more than one plate reader per square mile, the highest concentration in the nation. Police in the Washington suburbs have dozens of them as well, and local agencies plan to add many more in coming months, creating a comprehensive dragnet that will include all the approaches into the district. An environmental attorney said oil is still leaking from BP's Macondo formation more than 16 months after the well was declared sealed. The attorney said the only explanation for fresh oil bearing the Macondo fingerprint that's washed ashore on barrier islands is that the seafloor was damaged during the Deepwater Horizon blowout, and oil is seeping through. Most hospitals ask their employees to get a flu shot voluntarily, about 50% comply. Not enough for Ironwood Medical Center. If employees cannot get the shot for medical reasons, they will have to wear a medical mask. Workers that have no medical exemptions and refuse the vaccine will lose their jobs. Computer scientists and engineers at Harvard University have developed and licensed technology that will make it easy to test collective algorithms on hundreds, or even thousands, of tiny robots. Called Kilobots, the quarter-sized bug-like devices scuttle around on three toothpick-like legs, interacting and coordinating their own behavior as a team. A June 2011 Harvard technical report demonstrated a collective of 25 machines implementing swarming behaviors such as foraging, formation control, and synchronization. Once up and running, the machines are fully autonomous, meaning there is no need for a human to control their actions. Federal nuclear regulators say the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth is subject to additional oversight related to an automatic emergency shutdown, which occurred as the reactor was being returned to service after a refueling and maintenance outage. The shutdown was blamed on human error. Phil Jones, the director of research at the University of East Anglia's Climatic Research Unit, was a major player in the controversy that erupted 2 years ago over the publication of emails that caught prominent scientists stonewalling skeptics and attacking opponents in vitriolic terms. A new leak that appeared Tuesday has threatened to cause similar embarrassment ahead of climate change talks in South Africa. Governor John Kitzhaber announced today he will not allow the execution of Gary Haugen, or any death row inmate, to take place while he is in office. The death penalty is morally wrong and unjustly administered, Kitzhaber said. it is purported, and certainly proliferated all over the mainstream media, that the shadowy online hacker group called Anonymous has posted online the home address and phone number of one of the University of California Davis police officers suspended for using pepper spray on Occupy protesters. Following the suspension of the two officers directly involved in the pepper spraying of prone protesters at UC Davis, the police chief has also been put on leave in the pepper spraying atrocity. Hundreds of students and faculty members at UC Davis gathered Monday in the campus quad to protest this use of pepper spray on students by university police last week. Students have again also put up tents near this site where University of California Davis police used pepper spray. Two Occupy Wall Street protesters on Monday sued the New York police for false arrest and excessive force arising from an incident at a Citibank branch in downtown Manhattan. 7 Occupy Columbia protesters arrested last week for refusing to leave the South Carolina State House grounds have sued Republican Governor Nikki Haley and state public safety officials, saying their First Amendment rights were trampled. Protesters from Washington's 2 Occupy Wall Street offshoots flocked Wednesday to a church where Abraham Lincoln once worshipped for a Thanksgiving buffet. Organizing the feast was Occupy Faith DC, an interfaith coalition set up a month ago to give food, equipment and spiritual support to Occupy DC in McPherson Square and Occupy Washington DC in Freedom Plaza. Federal, state and academic environmental engineers have announced that injection of 1 million metric tons of condensed carbon dioxide underground over the next 3 years has started, in a supposed experiment to check out carbon sequestration technology. This is the first project in the USA to do large volume injections of carbon dioxide in a saline reservoir, says John Lightinsky, of the Energy Department's National Energy Technology Laboratory. A war crimes tribunal in Malaysia has found former U.S. President George W. Bush and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair guilty of war crimes for their roles in the Iraq War. The 5-panel Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal decided that Bush and Blair committed genocide and crimes against humanity by leading the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Firefighters are preparing for another horror day after nearly 20 homes and cottages were destroyed by bushfire which swept through the Margaret River region. Forecast high winds are worrying fire crews still battling to control the bushfire which tore through the coastal hamlets of Ellensbrook and Prevelli late yesterday, destroying 10 homes and at least 9 holiday cottages. Houston area residents have to wonder if they'll be next after a teen who was standing on a street corner was swallowed by a sinkhole that opened suddenly when it is said that an underground water main burst. He fell several feet and was underwater for about 15 seconds as he tried to claw his way out of a hole. The busiest shopping day of the year is set for a new level of consumer exploitation at 2 American malls. A notice appearing at Promenade Temecula in California, and Short Pump Town Center in Richmond, Virginia, will advise shoppers that their cell phone signal will be used to track them as they move from store to store. Pinal County authorities Wednesday evening reported that a plane had gone down in the Superstition Mountains. The county sheriff's office said a fire had broken out as a result, and that emergency crews were on the way. The size of the plane or how many passengers were aboard are not known at this time. Witnesses said the plane appeared to crash in the Flatiron area of the peak's summit. The subsequent explosion unleashed a fireball that witnesses described as a mushroom cloud. Inland and coastal northern New South Wales is being drenched in its heaviest rain in years. Warnings of possible flooding have been issued for at least 10 areas. A slow-moving low-pressure trough is making the most of a very moist atmosphere, bringing almost constant rain since yesterday morning. A federal judge has certified the victims of the Indiana State Fair stage collapse as a single class in a lawsuit challenging a law that caps the state's liability at $5 million. U.S. District Judge Sarah Evans Barker ruled Wednesday on several motions brought in a lawsuit filed by the estates of 3 of the 7 people killed in the August 13 collapse. A federal judge dismissed a bankruptcy suit for the city of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, on Wednesday, saying that the filing, made by the city council last month, was illegal. From elite-controlled CBS News. Talk about stirring up controversy. A new study shows that the urine of people who consume canned soup can contain surprisingly high levels of bisphenol A, or BPA, a hormone-disrupting compound linked to health problems including heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. Torrential rain battered eastern Sicily on Wednesday, where mudslides have killed at least 3 people and muddy torrents have swept away cars and washed out bridges, authorities said. Economic Cooperation Organization member states have agreed to establish ECOPOL in an apparent attempt to fight transnational organized crimes and drug trafficking. Thousands of people have staged an anti-U.S. protest in Pakistan's second-largest city and slammed President Asif Ali Zardari's failure to protect the country's sovereignty. Karen Gardner Water District officials are happy that federal officials have ruled out a cyber attack as the cause of a water pump failure at the district. Department of Homeland Security spokesman Chris Ortman said Tuesday initial reports that the water pump failure was due to a hacker perhaps from Russia, were based on raw and unconfirmed data. Obviously, that didn't stop the mainstream media from broadcasting it every hour on the hour, for hours and hours. What do you make of this? Let us know in the comments section. Although the original source of the information was unknown and impossible to immediately verify, the claim is allegedly made in a public water district cyber intrusion report. Industry expert and Department of Homeland Security advisor, Joe Weiss, as if on a publicity tour, called both the Washington Post and Wired with alarmist rhetoric. Water can exist in liquid form well below this threshold, notably in a so-called supercooled state. Scientists have found that rather than becoming ice once it's cooled to 0 degrees Celsius, supercooled liquid water can hold out until it reaches -48 degrees Celsius. The study suggests this structural change from liquid to an intermediate ice explains the mystery of what determines the temperature at which water is going to freeze. A non-profit organization that receives taxpayer funding and works closely with the Department of Homeland Security is under fire for promoting unjustified terror and fear among the public about terrorism, claiming that Americans should be suspicious even of their best friends and neighbors. Known as the Counterterrorism Education Learning Lab, or the CEL, the organization produces propaganda designed to hype the threat of terrorism and persuade citizens that they can join the terror war, too. It includes, among other ventures, a full-scale museum exhibit entitled Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere, Understanding the Threat of Terrorism that presents terror as one of the gravest dangers facing humanity today. In the next phase of its litigious campaign to perpetuate the constitutionally unsupportable position that the federal government has exclusive authority in all matters of immigration policy, the Obama administration has sued the state of Utah over its recently enacted anti-immigration law. A Silicon Valley software maker has withdrawn legal threats against an Android developer who claimed the company's diagnostic application amounted to a root that posed a privacy threat to millions of handset owners. A California woman faces federal charges after calling an airline to report a fake terrorist threat hours before her ex-lover was to board an international flight. Officials in Seattle have decided not to press charges against self-proclaimed superhero Phoenix Jones, accused of assault after pepper-spraying a group he said was fighting outside a nightclub. Coast guards in Cornwall have had to issue warnings to sailors to inform them that a new island has appeared in the Canary Islands. The island has been formed by molten lava pushing up from the seabed. Falmouth Coast Guard, which deals with incidents in the Atlantic, said it confirmed the new island with coast guards in Spain.